Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, guys, hostile aliens are on their way to Earth. It's not me saying it now. There's lots of people talking about this. The internet has gone up in absolute... Everybody's talking about it now. This stems from an intergalactic object, I guess, that's on its way. If it's in our solar system, that's heading towards Earth. Now, this item is called 3I Atlas. Now, this is on its way on a very peculiar trajectory. Harvard scientists, now it's not me saying this, guys, literally Harvard scientists are saying that this could be potentially a hostile alien craft. And I am going to go on and I'm going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to talk about the article that I'm going from. But ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm on a little bit late and I appreciate that. I was going to come on at 10. My dad phoned me up and he said, Sean, I said, what? He said, there's a tree that's just been taken down and all the logs are here. So literally, I don't know if you guys have them where you live, like the really big Lelandis. Anyway, one of those had just been taken down and it had all been chopped up. So I've been loading that onto the back of a van and bringing it to my house. Look, guys, winter is coming. It's closer than you think. It's not going to be long before the winter closes in. The fuel prices are up. Taxes. So just as a little, just as a little side burner, try and get yourselves ready because the price of everything is going to go up in the winter. Right now, look, guys, and I'm not giving you guys financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do with your life. But right now, the price of wood and the price of coal online is still relatively cheap. Likewise, the price of gas. And I do think that the price of all these things are really going to escalate, guys, when the weather drops. But we may not even get there, guys, because this alien, allegedly, this alien craft heading towards Earth, Harvard scientists warned that a hostile alien craft could strike Earth in just months. Guys, that is literally the headline. Now, I'm going to read you this article. Excuse me. I'm going to read you this article and then I'm going to give commentary. A respected Harvard astrophysicist has revealed new evidence suggesting that the mysterious object barreling towards Earth this December is an alien craft. Now, since this article was written when was it written? The 29th of July. Since this article was written, this trajectory has been updated. It's now looking like it's coming at its closest to Earth on Halloween. Again, guys, look, these dates all seem creepy to me. Professor Avi Loeb and his team found that the supposed comet known as 3I Atlas is on an extremely unusual course that will take it close to 3 different planets, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. Professor Loeb explained that 3I Atlas's course is so rare that the chance of it being a natural space rock randomly flying along its path is less than 0.005%. So that's pretty rare. That is pretty rare that this is an Miss Gem. Thank you for your subscription, Miss Gem. Really appreciate it. So they're claiming, guys, look, I'm reading this article. This is an article from the Daily Mail. It was posted on the 29th of July. Harvard scientist warns hostile alien craft could strike Earth in just months. The date that everybody is planning for now is Halloween. So that is the date that is looking like it's coming the closest to Earth. I think they call it perihelion. Based on those findings, Professor Loeb, an outspoken believer in UFOs, has concluded, how are you a believer in UFOs? There are unidentified flying objects, literally. If it's flying around the sky and you cannot identify it, it's a UFO. There's lots of them. But anyway, has concluded that 3I Atlas may be an alien probe sent to this solar system by an unknown intelligence. Moreover, Professor Loeb said that such a craft and the beings who control it would have one of 2 motives, one being harmless and one being hostile. Absolutely right, ladies and gentlemen. This is a binary. There's only 2 options here. If aliens do come to Earth, they're either hostile or they're not. there's no in between. They're no hot. You can't be a half hostile alien. I don't know. Maybe they're going to come as like. Maybe they're going to come and pretend their home planet. They've had to flee their home planet for persecution or something. I don't know. Right, I'm going to jump and get these questions, guys. A couple of questions jumped up on TikTok, and then I'll go over to YouTube. Good morning, everyone. It's not morning, is it? Listen, guys, I do apologise again. I apologise again for being on late. My dad phoned me up. He said, "Look, there's a big tree that's just been chopped down by the council. My dad said to them, he said, 'What are you doing with the wood?' He said, 'Nothing.' So I literally had to get up there, guys, at the speed of a tall Indian to get that wood." Hello, everyone, for joining. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, if you're on and you've not done so, can you please do me a real big favor? Hit the like button, the comment, subscribe, all those buttons that help this channel grow. And the biggest thing that you guys can do is share my live. That really helps, guys, okay? Rummy UK is saying hello. Hello to you, Rummy. How are you? Miss Gem is saying, what's your honest opinion on this spacecraft? Good question. Good question. Do you know what, Miss Gem, 1985? I've been reading about this and giving an objective, trying to be as objective as possible. But what is my honest opinion on this spacecraft? So we're talking about 3I Atlas here, which is an object that's traveling very fast. It's on a very peculiar trajectory, and it comes closest on its perihelion, which is closest to Earth, on Halloween. So that does seem peculiar to me. What's my honest opinion on it? Well, I think statistically, whether it's a lump of rock or not, I don't think we're going to know. But I do think, I guess, what's my honest opinion? Right. My honest opinion is it will turn out to be a space rock. That's what my opinion is. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think that it could be something intelligent from another world. I've just not had enough information on this. I don't know enough about this. I've not got access to the raw data to analyze myself. So with the information I've got right now, I think that this, let me pin that again, actually. With the information that I've got right now, I think that it's just going to turn out to be a space rock. However, you guys know what I say about but. Whether it is a space rock or whether it's nothing, I don't think we're ever going to find out, because even if that thing does have, is filled with aliens, we're never going to know, because we can never see this. And the people who can see this, I guess they will never tell us either. So, I guess it's, that's my honest opinion. I think it'll come and it'll go and it'll turn out to be claimed as a space rock. But I do think if there are interstellar objects, if there are interstellar travelers, they would travel on something of similar size. We all think about aliens traveling on these little spaceships, but the reality is, if we're talking about under known physics, guys, okay, operating under known physics, we have to operate off these spaceships or these craft. The size of them needs to be absolutely huge, guys. So let me try and find an example of it. So this wasp fly spray here. Say that this was, 20 kilometers long and 5 kilometers in diameter. That is kind of the size that you would expect an interstellar spaceship to be, because that's how big it needs to be, guys. So these little tin cans that are flying like saucers, I don't see under known physics, guys. Under known physics, they can't operate. But like I said, if you were to expect something from another galaxy, another solar system, something that was interstellar, that is the size, and this is the size that you would expect it to be. So I guess that's my honest opinion. Linda Lou 77 is saying, good afternoon, Sean. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to everyone. Guys, thank you for following. Thank you for sharing the live. I do appreciate it, guys. I really appreciate it. Linda Lou is saying, I think this is what the Lord... I have this thing where I scan a comment and I think I know what it means, but I clearly don't. Linda Lou is actually saying, I think this is what the Bible was telling us, and it is the Lord that's coming back for us. Maybe it is, guys. Maybe it is. Look, if he was ever going to come back, I guess it would be now. Paul Poops is saying it's when it starts slowing down, then we worry. Yeah. So look, guys, these interstellar objects. There was the other interstellar object called, I think it was called a Oumuamua or a Muamua or something. Now, this one, we only caught this last minute, this interstellar object, and as it was leaving the solar system, it actually sped up. I don't know. Tell me how that can happen in nature. It can't. But yeah, Paul Poops is saying it's when it starts to slow down, that's when we need to worry. So this is kind of one of the things that I'm worried about as well. So this spaceship, let's just say this is the space. Let's say this is Earth. Let's say this is Earth, and this is the sun. The spaceship, say that this is a spaceship. The spaceship, when it reaches its closest point to Earth, it's on the other side of the sun. So we won't be able to see what's happening. And that is kind of concerning. Linda Lewis saying again, it's the aliens that left us behind, and the Bible tells us when they're coming back to get us. Does it really, Linda Lou? Is that what it really says? The crazy beast is saying, hang on, let me pin this from the crazy beast. The crazy beast is saying Nostradamus. He sounds like a Belgian baker. Nostradamus really hit the nail on the head for this year, didn't he? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, Nostradamus did a lot of things that were going to be happening in 2025. There's also a song. In like 1970. There's a song released in 1975. It's like a rock song. I can't remember what it's called, but in this rock song, the lyrics are something like, "You better get ready for 2025 because in 50 years' time." The lyrics on the song are very ominous to the year 2025. Right, guys, I'm going to continue with this article. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us for the first time, we are talking about the potential of, look, guys, when I'm saying this, I'm literally reading off a mainstream media article here. This is not me speculating. I wouldn't speculate anything like this. I'm literally going off a mainstream media article now, guys. Hostile aliens are coming. They're coming. They're gonna reach their closest point potentially in Halloween, and there could be a massive shift coming. So just to recap, this professor, Avi Loeb from Harvard University, he's saying that it's raining. He's not saying that it's raining. I'm saying that it's raining. Avi Loeb is saying that the two options, that if they are aliens that are on this craft, the two options are they're either hostile or they're not. And as far as I'm concerned, guys, 50-50, I don't like those odds. The consequences, should the hypothesis turn out to be correct, could potentially be dire for humanity and would possibly require defensive measures to be undertaken. Though these might prove futile, Professor Loeb and his team warned in their new study. So, does that not concern anyone, guys? Like, realistically, put it in the comments, guys. Does that not concern anybody, right? That there's Harvard professors and their team, and they're saying this. Should the hypothesis turn out to be correct of hostile aliens, it could potentially be dire for humanity and would possibly require defensive measures to be undertaken, though these might prove futile. Professor Loeb and his team warned in their new study. Now, look, guys, like I've said, like, how many videos have I done and how many times have I said, I think that we should put more money into space, more money into space infrastructure, instead of fighting each other on this planet. And look, guys, when I'm saying this, for those of you who don't know, I'm a veteran. I've spent a lot of time in the military. I've spent a lot of time in other militaries, doing various roles in other militaries around the world. I know that that what's happening on Earth, it's part, and what people don't understand, the competitive competitivity that drives us to have a war every 80 to 100 years, a big one, is the same competitivity that drives us to succeed. It's the same competitivity that drives us to better our own situation. Now, without that competitivity, if we had eyes on the side of our heads, we would not be apex predators, explorers, engineers, pioneers. We would literally still be foraging for dirt, for shrubs, for little bugs, eating off the ground. That's where we'd be. Our intelligence and our competitivity has driven us to excel. Now, I think rather than channeling that competitivity to fight each other, rather than channeling that energy to fight each other, I think we should be going into space, mining asteroids, putting a base on the moon, putting colonies on Mars, putting colonies on the moon. That is where I want to go, guys. It really is. Now, this is a question for you guys. What kind of a future would you prefer for your children? The future that we've got now, which looks like taxes, more taxes, total erosion of culture, total erosion of identity, and more taxes. That's the future we've got right now, guys. That is the future we've got. Or do you guys want the interstellar future, which I want, whereby rather than fighting each other or the little bits of mud and little bits of of finite resources that are on Earth, wouldn't it be better if the headlines were Britain develops new drone to bring down gold from asteroids. France developed, I'll go with France. France develops new life support machine that can keep astronauts in space longer. China develops new method of putting solar panels around the sun. Russia, deep mining, finds massive amounts of diamonds on an asteroid. Like, wouldn't that be a better future that humanity could get together behind and go in that direction? But we're stuck fighting these wars, guys, and it's unbelievable. Anyway, sorry, guys. If I'm going to get the comments, guys, quite a few comments have just jumped up. I'll get the comments and then we'll continue. Where are we? We've done that one. Miss Gem is saying the Bible says sojourner, referring to visitors, doesn't say aliens. Okay, Miss Gem, I'm going to have to look into that. I don't know enough about that, Miss Gem, but I will look into that and I'll try and figure that out. Linda Lou says, that's my take on it. Only so many of us can go and they will rise up and leave the others behind. Are we talking about literally rising up, Linda Lou? Is that where we're going? Daniel Payne is saying, this is late in the... Wow, guys, can you hear the rain outside? I think the aliens are here now. Yeah, it is late in the day, guys. I was... my dad phoned me up basically this morning about 20 past 9. He said, Sean, councillor outside, they've just taken a massive tree down and they're chopping it up. I've asked him, and I had to go and get that wood. I've got a log burner, it might not be ready. In fact, it probably won't be ready for this year, but I have to keep on top of the wood situation. We are discussing, ladies and gentlemen, right now, we're talking about the potential of hostile aliens coming to Earth at Halloween. Guys, that's what we're talking about. Paul Poops is saying, I'm going next week to Pentridge, Wales to reinvestigate. Hang on a minute. Right, Paul Poops. So Paul Poops, if you want to keep me informed on that, mate. So Paul Poops, for those of you guys who are watching on YouTube, the Paul Poops has just jumped up and he said he's going to Wales next week to investigate the Pentridge UFO incident. Look, guys, I believe that is, I totally debunked that. I don't see anything, in my opinion, of credibility there. I used to be based around that area, and everything I talked about this on the live stream, and literally everything everything I spoke, everything that's come out on the mainstream about that Pentridge UFO incident, I can easily dismiss with actual information from on the ground. Now, what you've got to understand, Paul Poops, the time of that Pentrich UFO incident, that was when there was a foot and mouth incident in the United Kingdom, certainly around that area of South Wales. The military bases that are there, the proximity to Cardiff Airport, you've got to take all these things into consideration. But listen, Paul Poops, if you share with me your findings, and look, guys, when I say I debunk things, I don't debunk things and like just for the sake of debunking them. If I can't debunk something, I'll say, look, guys, I can't debunk that. I do think aliens are real. I'm just not convinced they've been to Earth on little ships that are the size of saucers. Right, guys, thank you for following. Thank you for following, ladies and gentlemen. And Laurie C has just jumped on and said, afternoon. Oh, and Paul Poops is saying, yes, main witness will meet us, plus have a Geiger counter, EMF metal detectors. Right. So are you, Paul Poops, are you talking about the woman, the woman, she spins a very good yarn. Look, guys, I'm not taking away from anybody's credibility. If something's there and it cannot be debunked, I won't make things up. I will go with with Occam's razor. All right. If it can be debunked easily, I will debunk it easily. If you start having to make things up and say, but this might have happened and that might have happened and then that might have happened and then the swamp gas might, if you start having to go like that, you're not debunking at all, because your debunk is more unlikely than the actual thing happening. So Paul Poops, if you keep me in the loop on that, I'll give you my honest opinion. Right, we're going back to, I'm just going to go back onto this article now, guys. So the article is from, where is it from? The article is from the Daily Mail, and the headline is, where is it? Where's the headline? Harvard scientists, hostile alien craft could strike Earth. That's the headline, guys, all right? Harvard scientist warns hostile alien craft could strike Earth within months. Now, the date since this article has been revised, and the new date that this is going to happen is Halloween. So the 30th, was it the 30th or the 30th? I don't know. Halloween, basically, right at the end of October, right at the beginning of November. Sorry, guys. Now, the scientists, Harvard scientists now, guys, it's not me saying this, Harvard scientists are saying, and they're right, if this is aliens on their way, then the solution is simple. They are either hostile or they are not. There's no in between. There's no in between. They're not going to come over and like be half hostile. Now, if they are hostile, I'll just read you this again and then we'll continue. If they are hostile, the consequences could be potentially dire for humanity and would possibly require defensive measures to be undertaken, although these might prove futile. See, I'm not so sure, guys. I'm really not so sure that they would be futile. If this alien craft is coming towards us, if this alien craft, which is 3I, what's it called? 3I Atlas, if this craft is coming towards us, and it is full of aliens, then they're operating on known physics. Now, if it's operating on known physics, we can fight them. And I'd be well up for it. Like, I would be more, like, wouldn't it be, like, I don't know, guys. I'd much rather have a good old scrap with the aliens. The researchers' theory emerged from grim scientific concepts called the dark forest hypothesis, which assumes that other intelligent civilizations in the galaxy would be hostile and likely to view humanity as a threat that needs to be attacked. So for those of you guys who don't know, guys, I'm going to jump onto the YouTube in a minute, but for those guys who don't know what the dark forest hypothesis is, so the dark forest hypothesis is a solution to the Fermi paradox. Just stick with me, guys. Stick with me if I'm losing anyone. So the Fermi paradox, which would be Enrique Fermi, he said over lunch while he was studying somewhere, I can't remember who he was with. It might be sat with Einstein or something, and he said, right, if life is so abundant in the universe, where are all the aliens? And that was the Fermi paradox. Where are all the aliens? Now, one of the solutions to that would be that if a civilization is growing and evolving, when they get to a certain point, you'd want to extinguish them because you wouldn't want them to become a threat. Now, right now on Earth, we're pretty much we're like little players. We don't really have much. We can't really leave the planet. We don't have anything on the moon. We don't have anything on Mars. We are a one planet civilization. We're like a level 0 on the Kardashev scale. So once you move to level 1, so level 1 would be you've got basically level 1 would be you have a colony outside of Earth, so either that on the moon or on Mars. Now, what the dark forest hypothesis is, the dark forest is everybody's hiding and being quiet, but as soon as you poke your head up and say, hey everyone, I can do this, that's when you get extinguished. So that's the dark forest hypothesis. In 2021, Professor Loeb theorized that Oumuamua, the first interstellar object which passed through our solar system, that's actually wrong. That's actually wrong there. That should read the first observed interstellar object that passed through our solar system. May have also been an alien probe. Citing its strange, remember what I just said, guys? Citing its strange cigar shape and its influence to speed up without the influence of gravity. So that would imply propulsion. Right, let me come down. In May, Professor Loeb was one of the keynote speakers at the congressional hearing regarding UFO sightings. At that event, he said there are objects in the sky we don't understand, while calling for increased funding for UFO detection. So there we have it, guys. Like there is this stuff heading towards Earth right now, and it looks like it's going to reach the crescendo on Halloween. Now, a lot of people are saying that Halloween is where the veil between worlds becomes the thinnest. Paul Poops on, let me just pin this. Paul Poops on TikTok is saying, oh, that was weird, it came off. Hang on, let me, am I allowed to pin that? Paul, oh, not approved. So, Paul Poops, your comment is not approved. Can I approve your comment? So Paul Poops, I don't know if I'm going to get the live banned. I don't know if I'm going to get the live banned. Paul Poops, look, guys, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous now. Absolutely ridiculous. Can I pause this live? Can I pause it? Give me a second. Right, guys, on the chat in TikTok, can you guys see Paul Poops' comment where he's talking about photographs? This is ridiculous now. This is absolutely absurd. Right, okay, so Snowdrops can see it. So for some reason, Paul Poops, your comment has not been, so I can't pin that comment, Paul Poops. So Paul Poops' comment, and I don't know if I'm going to get banned for saying this, but this comment has not been approved. And the comment is this. This is how ridiculous the algorithm is, guys, right? So this is what Paul Poops has said. The 3-eye atlas can be photographed using an amateur scope. You just need to know where it is. That comment has been restricted. I don't know. Maybe I don't know why that comment had been restricted, guys. But there you go, Paul Poops. That comment's restricted. I can't share it. Linda Lou is saying maybe the government knows, and there's the reason for all these asylum seekers are here to help fight the aliens. Yeah, I mean, I think the first real battle would be in space. I'm not sure what. I mean, let's just look, guys. I don't want to get onto asylum seekers, but you know, these people they're peaceful. They've fled persecution in their country. They just want to be peaceful here. So I don't think they'd have much. They wouldn't have much minerals in them. D. Marie Gen X is saying hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, D. Marie Gen X. Snowdrops, yes, saying yes, Linda Lou. Lady Trace, hang on a minute. Am I allowed to pin this? Yeah, I'm allowed to pin that. Lady Trace on TikTok is saying, I had a dream about a big cigar craft earlier this year. Hope it wasn't a premonition. Maybe it was. I don't know. Look, guys. So just quickly, okay. So some of the things I say about when we talk about UFOs and UAPs and stuff. A couple of the things I say, I'm not. And we've got to go on known physics here. I can only talk about known physics. I do accept the argument that there will be physics that we just don't know. There will be a lot of metaphysical. There'll be a lot of stuff that we kind of don't understand. Like, look, guys, we still operate on physics, on Einsteinian physics, which is over 100-year-old, maybe. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. We don't realize it. But basically, you know the little craft that are like saucers? I am not convinced that aliens getting their home planet and using known physics, getting their little ships and go, whee, I'm coming to Earth. I don't have that. So there's either a base already here in the ocean, on the dark side of the moon, or there's already a craft. There's already one of these bigger craft orbiting Earth somewhere that we can't see. It might be cloaked. It might be covered in Clark tech. I don't know. But the bigger stuff, so what we're talking about now, we're talking about the bigger stuff, this 3-eye, let me try it and see if I've got this string. The 3-eye atlas, the thing that's coming towards Earth right now, that's a lot bigger. Now, we talked about this earlier. If you have a size of about 20 kilometers wide and maybe 5 kilometers in diameter, that gives you the perfect dimensions for something called, I think they're called O'Neill, are they called? Yeah, O'Neill cylinders. So an O'Neill cylinder is a craft of that size, and it would spin. Once you spin, you can match your home planet's gravity by using centrifugal force. So then the people will be stuck onto the outside. Sorry, guys, I didn't realize I'd be doing this. So I've got one of the girls' little things here. So centrifuge. They fell off. It was the wrong way. It was the wrong way. So the beads on this bracelet, I just swizzled them off. So the beads on this bracelet, if I spin it, the beads will always go to the back end, to the bottom end because of centrifugal force. Now, if you have 5 kilometers and you spin it, you get the same effect. You get people on the inside, living on the inside. So you could have thousands of people living on the inside of that. Now, when I see these objects, that is what I personally would expect an interstellar craft to look like. Not one of these little flying saucer things. I wouldn't expect that unless there's a mothership or or they already have a base here, guys. I hope I've cleared that up with some people. That's why I do think this is a little bit alarming. Right, let me jump. Right, we talked about that. Paul Poops is saying that's absolutely mad. Yeah, it's absolutely mad, guys. It's mad. So, like, the comment that I can't read, the comment that's been restricted from Paul Poops, I don't even care if I get the live ban. So this comment I'm going to read, guys, it's been restricted. So you're not allowed to have these comments on TikTok. The 3-eye atlas can be photographed using an amateur scope. You just need to know where it is. That's been censored. I don't know why, but it has, guys. It's been censored. It just is what it is. Debbie Doobs is saying, dump TikTok off, Sean. It's their loss. Sharon Owen is saying, yes, you can see it. You can see it, but I can't pin that comment. There's a guy, King of UFOs. He's written books, etc. Last message on TikTok was he's been silenced. Oh, right, okay. Debbie Doobs is saying, we know very little in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, we do, guys. And people when again, it may have worked against me, but equally, I don't care. Because I think time's a great vindicator. When I used to subcontract with yeah, I guess subcontract for Boeing. One of the things I used to say in the meetings, I always used to talk about aliens and stuff. I say, right, guys, have we actually got a plan here to defend the planet against aliens? And people would look at me a little bit strange, but some people would be like, yeah, I got you, bro, but I'm a little bit too scared because I actually work for Boeing and I can't say the stuff you can. Right, let me jump down. Are amateur astronomers talking about this? I don't know. I don't know. Lady Trace is saying didn't eat just. Oh, so we're talking about this guy who got silenced there. We're talking about this guy who got silenced. Interesting. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna leave it there for TikTok, and I'm gonna jump over to I'm gonna leave it there for TikTok, guys. I'm gonna jump over to YouTube. Don't forget, we triple stream all the time, guys. I'm gonna try and limit my live streams on TikTok just because it's so restrictive, guys. It's so restrictive. I mean, you just seen literally there. I got restricted for talking about what, like, an asteroid that you're allowed to photograph with an amateur scope. It's absolutely unbelievable. Paul Poops, if you can keep me updated with your trip to Wales, if you can do that in real time, I would have questions for your witnesses. You know, I just left the military at that time. I understand what those exercises are. I understand what they entail, and I can pretty much debunk everything that's said. I'm not saying that nothing strange happened. What I'm saying is that exercise that the military are claiming, Exercise Chameleon, I'm saying that that does happen. And all those events that happened around Pentrich, I can explain them all the way, guys. I can explain them all the way with my understanding of how that exercise works. My understanding of the proximity to Cardiff Airport, my understanding of how long it takes things to get things in the air, guys, okay? You can't just click your fingers and have an AWACS plane in the sky. You can't just click your fingers and have attack helicopters there. It takes time to deploy them, so under no circumstances with this a QRF. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close TikTok down now, and I will be over on YouTube for the rest of the stream. Please go and visit me there. And if you've not done so already, please like, comment, subscribe, follow, bell notification, and all those things that help this channel grow. Wow, that was weird, guys. That was absolutely weird. That was so weird. That was so weird. Oh! What's that? Hang on, give me a second. Oh my God. Right, that was so weird, ladies and gentlemen. I was on TikTok then, just streaming, and one of the guys put a comment up there, and he said, you can view this asteroid with an amateur telescope. And the comment was restricted. I'm like, how is that? What is restrictive about that? What is restrictive is, I don't know if that's a word, it should be. What is restrictive about you guys know what I'm trying to say. What is wrong with saying that? I get it. I mean, sometimes the algorithm, when I say things like, I don't like the way that other militaries are being trained. Right, okay, fine. But really? Is that where we're going, guys? Is that where we're going? Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, guys, thank you for commenting. There's loads of comments today. Loads of comments. I'm just going to jump down and I'm just going to jump down, guys. Enslaved 86 is saying, yeah, I'm convinced with all these wars, and then suddenly all this alien talk, blue beam is in full effect. It would be hard to disagree with that. So listen, guys, all right, I don't know, and I don't know what's happening here. All I'm saying is it was very hard and it was very difficult to talk about the UFOs, UAPs, aliens, because people kind of didn't want to even think about it. But over the last, I'd say, the last maybe 5 years, there's not that stigma attached to it anymore. There's not that stigma attached to, and why should there be a stigma attached to it? Why should there be a stigma attached to somebody saying, you know, up there, do we think that, like, there's other life? Because when you say to people, you know, again, it's not something you don't go around. I don't know, maybe you do. I don't know. In fact, if you do, you're pretty cool. I would say most people don't go up to people in Asda or Tesco's or wherever you shop and say, "Excuse me, do you think there's aliens out there?" But I can pretty much guarantee everybody at some point thought that. Now, if you have that conversation with someone and you say to them, "Do you think aliens are real?" And I know this is, I guess, jump into a few assumptions about your conversational skills, but let's just go with it. And they say no. What they're actually saying is they don't understand and they've never thought about looking up. And that's kind of sad, don't you think? It's kind of sad that that happens. So if anyone, I dare anyone, I dare you guys. This is a dare. This is a dare. I dare anyone to look up at the sky. If I let's scratch that. I dare anyone to find somebody who says to you, "No, aliens are not real." I dare you to get them and say, "Look up at the sky at night and you see all those stars." Yes. Do you not think that, like, and that's all that we can see, all the stars that we can see, that's in our galaxy, Milky Way. There's lots of other galaxies. There's more galaxies than we can count. So in the infiniteness of space, time, and reality, are we really saying that we are the only life source in the whole of that? It's absurd. It's absurd to think that. Now, I will say what I just said before, and I want to be clear. I'm not convinced that little aliens and little ships, you know, little saucer-shaped spacecraft have come to Earth. They've either been here all along in the ocean, dark side of the moon, inside the moon. They're operating on unknown physics, or there's a mothership somewhere. Under no circumstances did they get on their spaceship at what would be the closest Proxima Centauri, which is a binary star system. Under no circumstances did they get on their little craft at Proxima Centauri, travel faster than the speed of light, get here, get out, come and, like, I don't know, mutilate a cow or something. I just don't get it, guys. I don't get it. So that's where I stand. Sharon Owen, thank you for becoming a member. Guys, thank you so much for becoming members. I am trying to migrate as much as I can over to YouTube. The TikTok, it is so much more user friendly. Like the screen, the control screen, the user interface, it's so much easier to use than YouTube. Sorry, so Enslave86 is saying, "I'm convinced with all these wars, then suddenly all this alien talk, Blue Beam is in full effect." Yeah, so Project Blue Beam or Operational Blue Beam would be, Operation Blue Beam, Project Blue Beam, whatever it's called, would be where the people pretend that there's an alien invasion. They pretend that there's an alien invasion to unite people around the world. People come together, we fight the aliens, and then we're under one world government. Now, here's a crazy thought. Here's a crazy thought, guys. All right? Here's a crazy thought. What if? So we do know right now, guys, that there are two things heading towards Earth. Out there in the mainstream media, ladies and gentlemen, it's out there in the mainstream media. Everybody's talking about it. It's not me going, "Oh, Sean, that's absurd." Everybody's talking about it. Harvard scientist warns hostile alien craft could strike Earth within months. That's out there. So that's 3i Atlas, and that's going to reach the crescendo, or the perihelion. That's going to reach perihelion, the closest distance to Earth, Halloween. Bit creepy, I'm going to admit. Now, what if that object gets here, aliens come out, they say, "Look, we're only speaking to Big Donny." Big Donny goes out there, Big DT, he's out there, he's like, "We need to make Earth great again." You know, Donald Trump goes out there or whatever. Who would you have? Who would you have as your ambassador? Probably someone like Elon Musk, maybe, or like, I don't know, maybe Richard, I don't know, somebody, basically. You know, these aliens go out there and say, "Listen, we're the good aliens. We're being chased by bad aliens, and the bad aliens are going to get here. the bad aliens are going to get here at, like, I don't know, on this other asteroid that's coming, Apophis 2029. So that would give Earth like 4 years to get ready for this attack. Wouldn't that be like, wouldn't that be like uniting? Wouldn't that be uniting? It was, what's his name? The US President, Reagan. Reagan gave a speech and he said, wouldn't it be fantastic? I'm paraphrasing. Wouldn't it be fantastic if there was some sort of external threat, an external enemy to Earth, and if people of Earth united and came together? And look, guys, if it ends in peace and people go into space, I think I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Jamie Chippett, hello, Jamie Chippett. How are you? Jamie Chippett is saying we are supposed to be like Joseph Jacob, Israel's favorite son, in holding the scepter of authority and rising above all principalities and power and ruling and regaining with Christ Jesus. Well, there you have it. That's what Jamie's saying. Paul Poops is saying, I have a smart scope, Sean, just a bit of an amateur with it at the moment. I know others have photographed the Atlas, 3i Atlas. I'll look to get the coordinates and see what happens. Well, Paul Poops, listen, if you'd have said that on TikTok, you would have had your comment banned. It was so weird. Wasn't that weird, guys? Wasn't that weird? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are on right now, can you do me a real big favor? Can you hit the like, the subscribe, the follow, whatever those buttons are down there, the bell notification? You guys have seen how restrictive TikTok is. It's unbelievable, guys. It really is. Like, if I want to dance provocatively and show skin, I'd never do that, ladies and gentlemen. That ain't happening. I tried it once. The internet went down for 6 months. People were saying it was a hack. People thought it was an EMP. I knew the truth. So, like, if you can migrate over here, guys, I'd really appreciate that. Stu Hatch is saying, Keir Starmer, they'd all be in hotels and on benefits on the first day. Yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Oh, we're aliens. We're here to destroy you. Here's a nice hotel. Here's a nice hotel. Yeah, and then we'd have to have more taxes to get them back. Right. James Brooke is saying, we never went 6 missions involving 24 connecting spacecraft, some flying 2. Hang on. We never went 6 missions involving 24 connecting spacecraft, some flying 2, some orbiting, some landing. It's impossible. We can't do it now or then with 60s Austin Powers technology. Okay, so when people like, I don't know the answer. James, I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. I could argue for and against. What I will say, though, when people say we had 1960s technology, yes, the Americans did. It was the end of the 60s, at least. Let's say early 70s or whatever. Kind of, you don't really need it. All you need to do is be able to map that trajectory of the moon and go where you think it's going to be. At some point, humans can take over. You know, they were very accomplished pilots. They were all very accomplished pilots that were on that mission. Any one of those guys who were on that on the Apollo missions, any one of those guys could have landed that craft. Landed any of those craft by hand. They were all accomplished pilots. You don't need much technology to operate an aircraft. You don't. I mean, the first aircraft were built with, what was a bicycle, the Wright brothers or something. So, that would be my answer to that. Although when people talk to me about the moon landings, and guys, I don't want to turn this into a moon landing. I don't want to turn this into a moon landing live stream. The live stream is as such. Harvard scientist warns hostile alien craft could strike Earth in months. Now, this date has been revised since this article was written at the end of July. The date for this craft The date for this craft coming on its closest approach to Earth is now Halloween. It's now Halloween, guys. All right, that's the new date. Right, I'm just going to jump down, guys. There are so many comments. Air Hammond is saying that Apollo conference I forgot how to speak. That Apollo conference afterwards looks like 5. Yeah, do you know what it did? It did, guys. Listen, all these arguments. So what Air Hammond is talking about here is the news conference after the Apollo landings. Very strange, very strange, very strange. Very strange to see these guys who'd allegedly just done like the final frontier. They just pushed the envelope to the final frontier. They got down and they were giving a news conference, and they were very, very strange with the way they were talking. And I get that, these guys are military, they're pilots, they're articulate, they've been given a brief, so I get that. I do get that, but still, it was strange. It was a very strange press conference. It was very strange afterwards, and I totally get that argument. Now, look, guys, my biggest thing, and I've always said this, I'll say it again, my biggest thing when people talk about this is if the moon landing was fake, then the Russians were in on it. At that time, there was a Cold War. I don't think they would have been in it. Right now, I'm not so sure, guys. Right now, I'm not so sure. Jamie Chippy is saying pagan, heathen, and demigod spirits recycled, repackaged, reborn, rehashed, reformed for today as devils and demons and unclean spirits, and UFOs and entities shake and quake at the covenants of Joseph. Jamie, I don't know what that means, brother. I don't know what that means. I don't know what this means. Okay, Jamie, I'm not sure what that means, Jamie. I don't know enough about that subject to be able to comment, but I'm pagans, heathens, and demigods. What is a demigod? Surely, is that like a half god? Don't all religions follow paganism at some point of it? Don't all religions follow it from some point? Follow paganism from some point? I don't know. Right, I'm just gonna jump down. Right, Ben Mack is saying Raven can talk for England. He can even spin dits while biting electric fences. So I'm assuming you're ex-military, Ben Mack. So I think what Ben Mack is referring to then is in the military, the guys used to have okay, so I'm going quickly on to military. So what Ben's talking about there is, somebody asked me a while ago if I was talking about Marines and paras. Now, some of my first guys, I will come back onto this the potential hostile alien craft heading towards Earth in a minute, but I think this was relevant. I'm gonna segue this and make it relevant. Of course I am, because I'm a professional, guys. I'm gonna make this relevant. So somebody was saying about like paras being the Marines being the best, and I was like, no, guys, look, okay. So my first experience with Royal Marines was I went over to visit them. I was in the machine guns platoon, and I had to go over to we had a company of Marines. I had to go over to them something. Can't remember what it was. I went there with my mate Fish. So we went over there, and the Marines were complaining that they didn't have washing machines. We were out there I think we was out in the field for 10 days, and the Marines were complaining that they didn't have washing machines to wash their clothes. And they were saying, well, how do you wash our clothes? And like the parachute regiment guys were saying, you don't, you're here for 12 days. You don't get washed. You don't wash your clothes. That's just how you roll for 12 days. And then you go back, you get washed when you're back. The Marines couldn't deal with that. So that's like So conceptualize that now. You've got all these Marines running around with their big gym muscles, beach muscles, you know, complaining that they ain't got a washing machine. That's fine, absolutely fine. I'm more power to them. I went over to A Company, which was a parachute regiment company. I went over to A Company, and one of the guys had his guys in a row, and they were having electric fence biting competitions. So now conceptualize that. 2 units in the exact same place, the exact same time, the exact same weather, the exact same kit and equipment. The Royal Marines decide to spend all their time complaining about washing their clothes and getting washing machines. The parachute regiment guys, right, we've got some free time. Let's have an electric fence biting competition. Of those 2 guys, of those 2 units, of those 2 groups of men, you've got one, visualize it, running around trying to clean the clothes, trying to scrub everything, and you've got another who are absolutely filthy, biting electric fences. Which, like, if you was a bad guy, which one of those would you least want to come across? I know what the answer is. I'll let you guys speculate in the chat. But anyway. Debbie Doobs is saying RH negative blood type is said to have alien roots. Yeah, there's something very strange about blood types. But as I was saying, sorry guys, sorry. Let me say this. So as I was saying, guys, so if the aliens are coming, who do you think we're going to set, like, who would you send to fight the aliens first? Would you send the Royal Marines who would just be worried about cleaning everything? Or would you send the paras who would just be, like, biting everything? I don't know. I know which I'd like to have. And then Ben Mackey saying the winner gets a dead arm. Right, we've got a lot of biblical stuff on here, guys. We've got a lot of biblical stuff on here. David Powell is saying, I kind of think your chat's going a bit out there now. You not think more chance Project Bluebeam than aliens right now? What's going on in the world? Thanks, David, for bringing us back on track. So David Powell is, look, guys, I'll be quite clear. I obviously don't know. I would say we have got like 3 50-50s right now. Yeah, and I know what you mean. So I would say there's a 50-50 chance of these three things happening. So it will either be an alien craft or it will not. That's the reality. It will either be an alien craft or it will not. If it's an alien craft, then they will either be hostile or they will not. That's the reality. Now, Project Bluebeam, I don't know, guys. I mean, if amateurs can see this with their telescopes, if amateur astronomers can see this with their telescopes, that must mean it's real. And I guess it's 50-50. And, you know, I guess for everyday people, I don't think it's going to matter whether it is real aliens or whether it's not, because, like, are we really going to take, like, do you really want to take that risk? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I wouldn't want to speculate either way. I don't think I've really thought about it in that concept enough. But every day that goes by and more information comes out about these interstellar objects that are heading towards Earth, the more people you see, you get like a hysteria. As things get closer to the crescendo, you get a hysteria. You get more people panicking, more people worrying, more energy fueling that speculation. Where was I going? Lincolnshire Templar is saying, what will we do if it starts to slow down? Yeah, so Lincolnshire Templar, that was what Paul Poops was saying earlier. Everything's fine until it starts to slow down or speed up. Now, the problem here is it reaches, so it reaches its, on this particular orbit that this 3i Atlas has come in, it reaches its perihelion, the closest to Earth. Reaches its perihelion, the closest to Earth, while it's actually at the other side of the sun. So if it could come at a constant speed, and then just when it got to the other side of the sun, stop. I guess it could do that if it's, you know, if it had enough energy. Now, that's for me, that's the terrifying thing. The terrifying thing is in Halloween, if we're watching this thing from Earth, we're watching it, it's coming, and then it doesn't come out the other side. You see where I'm going with that, guys? It could actually stop at the other side of the sun. Then we know we're in trouble. Hang on, guys. I'm just getting these comments. Air Hammond is saying, I remember this channel that used to film stars, and he showed that the stars had faces. Oh, really? I mean, guys, please don't. I'm literally picturing like 2 eyes, a nose, and a smiley face. Don't know where the channel has gone. Paul Poops is saying, of course I could organise a live with Kaz Clark with regards to the Pentridge incident. Would you? Yes, I'd be willing to. Yes, I would. Yeah, okay. So Paul Poops. So yes, I will be willing. 100%. I will be willing to 100% get involved with that. If you speak to Kaz Clark, let her know. I'm ex-military. I used to be based down there. I wasn't on that particular exercise, but I had done that particular exercise. The exercise they're talking about is Exercise Chameleon. They run it every year. I've done Exercise Chameleon. I know what's entailed, and I can debunk pretty much anything that she says. But look, guys, Paul, I won't do that in a debunking manner. I'll be polite and courteous, and I'll listen. And if I can't debunk something, and if we can come to, you know, and look, guys, when I'm debunking this, I'm kind of debunking this as someone who wants to believe, but I just don't want to. I don't want to just think everything's aliens, because it's not. I know that the military do have a lot of technology that's secret. But yeah, I definitely do that. Right, let me jump down. Paul Poops is saying absolutely 100%. Yeah, I'm more than happy to do that, Paul. More than happy to do that. However, if she's interested, we'll make it happen. If not, then, you know, I understand that. James Brooke is saying astronauts in the 60s claimed they at no point ever saw stars. Astronauts from the 80s and 90s claimed they saw millions of stars. They can't even get their story straight. I wouldn't know about that. I mean, it seems strange that you wouldn't see stars, like that the astronauts wouldn't see stars. That's peculiar, isn't it? You should definitely be able to see stars. I know that missile guidance, the old ones, the old missile guidance chips, they used to, what they actually do is they use their camera and they look for stars. They find out the stars. They can then literally they navigate from stars. That's how they do that. In the I don't know how they probably use because obviously they're higher than GPS, and GPS doesn't work, so they need to use stars. And then James is saying again, the lunar lander and astronaut suits on the moon were able to deal with temperatures 250 degrees plus and 250 degrees minus. You literally couldn't make this up, but they did. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I'm going to have to close this down now. I was a bit late. I do apologize for being late. Like I said, my dad phoned me up this morning. He said, Sean, there's a load of wood. We need to get it for the log burner. So I had to go and help my dad with this wood. The crux of this video, ladies and gentlemen, is from an article from the Daily Mail. Harvard scientists are warning hostile alien craft could strike Earth within months. That date has now been revised to Halloween. Take of it what you want, guys. Take of it what you want, but I'm ruling nothing out. I'm going to try and be back on at 8 again tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I will try and get on at 8. I don't think anything's going to bother me this time, but I think hopefully I'll be able to get back on 8 unless somebody wants to give me more wood, and then I've got to go, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, have a great day. Watch out for the aliens. I'll see you later.